And welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. I'll let you guys all know right now, we are all in for a special treat tonight because my guest, as you see on the screen right now, is Josh, the DaGreen Chiz. He's one of my favorite people to talk to in the hobby. He's been doing some pretty interesting things lately. He's had some pretty awesome purchases lately. He's segueing his channel from just his normal channel, which has like a lot of fun videos, but he also does similar podcast type videos like mine, but he's also now moved that over to a new channel. So I want to hear a little bit about that today. But all in all, before we get into all that, Josh, buddy, how you doing? How's everything been? How's the world of Pokemon been treating you?
It's been a whirlwind as usual, man. It's been crazy. I'm thoroughly enjoying it as much as I did probably feel like when I first got into it. So it's ever evolving, as some people would say, man. I adapting to the changes and taking the punches because God knows they're coming with all the different price changes and stuff. So
Oh yeah.
it's good, man. What about you?
So it's funny. I've been buying a lot of like raw cards lately, and
Yeah.
I've had a lot of trouble buying raw cards recently, but lately I haven't had or I've had a lot of trouble buying raw cards like in the near past when the height of heights was going on, but recently I've had like a ton of luck. And I've always talked about on this channel, I'm not a guy that goes after Japanese cards ever, like, but I'm very in tune with like the good cards, right? Like
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of is, but there's been a lot of cheap Japanese cards going on sales right now, so I'm doing those more as the short-term flips. But I had a pretty exciting purchase happen pretty recently, like since PSA shut down. Well, they didn't shut down again, but since they closed their $18 tier,
Yep.
I just randomly I like to search base set Raichus. It's just one of the cards I'm constantly
Safe
searching
search.
on eBay,
Yeah.
graded raw, and a card came up, feedback seller with 0 feedback score, had this super minty looking Raichu. It was because I was looking at Pokemon ending soonest, and this auction had like a minute or two left, and it was at $10, no bids, like $5 shipping. And I'm looking at the card and I'm like, okay, this is for a unlimited hollow. Like, keep in mind, unlimited hollows to get nines, get tens are actually probably a lot harder than people think. And then especially to get tens are
Oh,
next
yeah.
to impossible. And this card was so clean. I'm like, you know what? 0 feedback seller. I'm just going to take a chance and buy it. I put a $10 bid in. I was the only bid. I win it. I
Yep.
get it in the mail. I don't even remember I bought it. Like, that's how meaningless this card was to me. I was actually surprised when I opened the envelope and saw that it was actually delivered. I looked at this card, Josh. It is arguably the cleanest Raichu I have ever seen in my
Hell yeah.
entire life collecting Raichus. Like, and when I tell you 0 whitening on the corners, like that's always the first thing I look at
Oh
is
yeah.
corners. It is like perfect. It's
That's
crazy.
awesome. You gotta do an express on that. What's the seller's name so I can write that down?
No. So, well, that was the thing. I looked at his other auctions, and his other auctions were just what you would think of like somebody selling raw cards. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't all minty stuff, man. It was just for whatever reason. This
Yeah.
one card he was selling was super clean. And
That's
when stuff
awesome.
like that happens, you just get super lucky. And like, I'm not one of the people that goes and grades cards trying to get tens all the time. Ideally, that's what I'm always like hoping for, but I
Yeah.
am realistic, right?
A prayer now, yeah.
But when I saw that card, I was like, all right, $15. I grade this card. I get an 8. First of all, it's going in my PC either way, but grade it, get an 8. That's break even. Grade a 9. I'm going to be a really happy person. But the fact that I got that and now I'm thinking potential 10, candidate,
That's nuts.
I'm talking worst case scenario for me right now is a 9 for a $15 all in card, $10 for the card, $5 for shipping. Like, but it's little things like that are just what makes this hobby super exciting for me is those small wins sometimes could become big wins.
Yep. That's sick, man. I haven't bought a raw Pokemon card like that. I feel like in a while.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, I think one of the things too is I've bought so many raw cards throughout all the years, and just my expectations when it comes to raw cards, man, are just it's like 0,
Yeah.
Like, even on the cleanest pictures, sometimes like depending on who's selling the card, they're so good at like hiding stuff, right? Like camera angles, glares, whether it's, scratches or binder dings or whitening or corner. It just with a camera on your cell phone, you can make a PSA 3 look like an 8 or 9 if you're really good at holding it and the lighting's just perfect. So
Yep.
I've been so like beat up by that. But to get one of those cards come in, I had to like do a second look.
You've been hawking that guy's eBay page for a while, or no?
No, like I said, I was just watching Pokemon ending soonest, and this card just happened to come up. Or it was Raichu ending soonest. I don't even remember the exact search term I used because it was just one of those. I wasn't looking for it. It was just I found it. 2 minutes left in an auction. Boom.
That's awesome.
But speaking of auctions, man, I know. Well, first off, for anybody else anybody watching this who's not familiar with Josh's channel, there's a link to both his channels down in the description below, his main page and his podcast page. I recommend you guys giving him a sub to both. And his main page is at like 980 subscribers. So our goal is tonight. I'm asking all my subscribers right now. Our goal is to get this man to 1,000 before the end of the night. And if we could do that, I'll be very happy.
I think I'm like 922, so it's a little bit more work than
922. Well, that's a lofty goal, but maybe we get you close to it.
Yeah.
But
that'd be cool, man.
Yeah, man, you've been doing a lot. You've been watching like PWCC auctions. You've been doing that forever, but recently you've moved into Heritage, right? And very recently you made a pretty major purchase off Heritage. I'll let you tell everyone what you purchased.
Yeah, so I bought myself a PSA 6 first edition base set Charizard live during one of my live streams. It was like the first card that was auctioned besides Magic the Gathering. They always have like a Magic the Gathering block where I'm snoozing most of the time because it's a bunch of modern stuff, but there is some vintage. But the first Pokemon card's always usually the biggest hit. So bought it. It was $4,500 for a PSA 6.5. So that was awesome for me. I want to assume it might not have a binder ding based on some of the whitening and stuff. So really excited maybe to crack it again. That's probably what I'm going to do. Just like the last one I did, I resubbed it to CGC to upgrade the grade.
So I'm super familiar with your channel, so I know exactly what card you're talking about. But for anybody who may just be, discovering you for the first time, let them know what the last Charizard you cracked and resubmitted was and what you got.
Yep. So the last one I purchased from Pallet Town Pokemon, shout him out on Instagram, bought him. It wasn't his. He was like selling it, but bought that PSA 6. It was like $5,000. And I knew right away looking at it, the back was okay, but the centering was really bad. I knew CGC would upgrade it. So cracked the 6 and upgraded at CGC to like a 7.5. So I've got a little bit better hopes for this one. I'm really hoping this one could pull an 8, which would be cool. I've gone from a PSA 5 to a CGC 8 on a Shadowless Blastoise, so this would be pretty sick, man. I would be really excited.
Dude, those are big jumps, especially when you're talking price wise. Like, obviously when you grade with CGC, the market's already kind of dictated. For the most part, CGC prices sell for much lower than PSA prices, but when you have major jumps in grades, like you said, Shadowless Blastoids from a 5 to an 8, that's substantial. Yep. Or anytime you're talking first edition Charizards, like even those mid grades, because there's so many price points now for those cards that they've really they've built that market where there's a lot of comparables at lower grades where a random, modern Sword and Shield VMAX or something, there's no market in the 5 to 7.5 range, but that base at Charizard, it has a market. It has sort of a defined price, more or less, or at least the best baseline of any card you're going to find in those mid grades. So when you go from a 5 like you did to a 7.5, that is thousands of dollars more.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And usually it's about I'd say like a PSA 5 is about the same price as a CGC 6 for the most part. So when you take that 1.5, 2 grade jump, that's when you start really reaping some benefits. So it's pretty cool.
And always be funny if we just live in this weird circle where it's like, okay, you bought a PSA card, you cracked it, submit it to CGC. Somebody buys that CGC card, they're gonna now crack that CGC card, submit it to PSA, get the lower grade, and then somebody's just going to keep doing this circular thing.
Yep. Sorry, Earth. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sorry, Earth. Yeah, shout out to Cam and James from Z&G Emporium. Poor Cam, he's always ragging you on your Kyogre Black Label purchase.
Yeah, I'm gonna swift kick him in the balls when I meet him in Long Beach. No, I'm joking. No, it's good. It's all good time, man. I enjoy it.
Yeah. So you just mentioned Long Beach. So you're going to be vending there, correct?
Yeah. Yep. It's going to be my second time vending at Collecticon, so it'll be cool.
That's awesome. So what was your first experience there like?
It was interesting. First time I've ever vended anything. I've never done anything local, and had a bunch of like CGC 8.5s I was trying to move. So it was one of those, like, I'd say probably like 90% of Collecticon is CGC, honestly.
Did they move though, the 8.5s?
Yeah, there was some. It was like $10,000 in sales. So it was pretty good for my first show at it. So but a lot of things I'm changing up, not taking nearly as expensive cards as I did before. Now it's going to be primarily $200 less, $100 and less cards. There's a lot of families walking around. I got a lot of people walking around asking for $20 slabs. I only have like one or two. So usually bring a bunch of lower stuff this time, but also have maybe like my Zapdos section just as like something to look at as you walk by, you know. That'd be cool.
Now, would you always have them for a price, even if they maybe will be unrealistic prices?
Yep. So I did that last time. Yep. That's exactly what it is. And I think Gem Mint Pokemon I'd walked by last time. He's like, well, that one's a little cheap. I'm like, well, I guess, but most of them were priced pretty damn high. So they're there kind of just to show. Yeah.
What's the competition like when it comes to other sellers there?
There's tons of it's insane. When I went and just toured, there was not a whole bunch of PSA 10s. Like I'm the kind of guy looking for like some vintage PSA 10 stuff like that. Not everybody's doing that, but I was. So not a lot of people selling those, but there's also, I don't think, a lot of buyers for that. But there's tons of competition, there's raw cards everywhere, Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. Tons of sealed products, insane. Like if you're bringing sealed products, you gotta almost drop your pants just to sell your stuff. It's insane to what you got to do to sell it.
So you're talking modern sealed product or all sealed? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much modern. There's tons of modern sealed products, and the vintage is a little bit thinner, but it's still there. You can find it at a handful of booths.
Yeah, it's funny you talked about like not you. I don't know how true this is, but it's a ballpark. What you were saying, like 90% of all the slabs that are there are CGC, and like the other 10%. It's pretty funny listening to Nick Old School Pokemon because he said he had two. I forget what card he had. I know you were talking about Blastoise earlier when you were talking about the Shadows. I want to say it was a Blastoise.
Yeah, I think it was.
He had like a PSA 8 graded, or he had a PSA 8 for sale for higher than the CGC 8.5, and the 8 sold faster than the 8.5. So,
yep.
I don't know. It's this weird thing. I'll tell you right now, the people that are most critical to my channel, they always have two things in common. One, their first criticism is that they say I'm not like as accepting enough for CGC for them. Like that's always the first one. And the second one is these guys are always 100% of the time, and the time somebody will tell me I'm different, they are freaking selling CGC slabs. Every time. They are never, I promise you. And they are just some like, they're like, oh yeah, PK is a good guy. Yeah, but he doesn't talk positive about CGC slabs. But hey guys, I'm selling all these CGC slabs. Like CGC is good. It has a lot of like market possibilities. It's like, shut up, you shill.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the last time I came on your channel, you had came at me a little bit for CGC and me being a shill, and it was funny. I don't care, but all of my PSA slabs I probably won't bring to Collecticon because I want to save those. I don't want to sell them. So the CGC stuff I'll be taking likely. My Zapdoses are all PSA slabs, so those will be there. But pretty much everything I'm selling will end up being CGC probably. But you like what you like whatever.
Yeah. No,
It
it's
is
just
what it is.
this is the thing. And maybe the chat will let me know what they think. I think people that graded with CGC are grading to flip cards, meaning a large majority of that 1.3 million cards that CGC sold, people were grading with CGC with the sole intention to sell and flip. Now, with PSA, when you want to go do that and you have that mindset where I'm going to grade with PSA and I'm going to flip cards, the thing that helps out on the back end of that is there's a lot of people on the higher end who are set collectors, and a large majority, if not 100% of their cards are PSA. So it helps to have the end collector being a buyer for those. Where CGC, I don't know how ironed out that market is on the higher end of people that are true CGC set collectors.
Yeah, I'm too much of a mixed bag. I'm collecting CGC perfects. So I'm a big fan of some of that stuff. I like that they can provide that artificial rarity scarcity to modern cards. Whereas PSA, if you look at my Amazing Rare Kyogres, they're like, I don't even remember what Cam said. The pop was on that. It's insane. Like, there's tons of them. Whereas like the perfects there's like 4 of them. So I think for modern, that'll be a play, but it's also still like there's still only 4 perfect Kyogre 10s. Like, why would you even chase that with almost 5,000 of them graded? So it's, I don't know. I like the way they field some of the slabs for collecting, but I also love 10s. And all my Zapdoses are 10s, and they probably, I don't know, probably wouldn't be at CGC. So I keep them in PSA.
Yeah. And PSA's not handing out 10s that easy like they used to either. So,
yep. Yep. Are you a PSA guy that will not buy like a 2X cert or?
Nope. I will 100% buy a 2X cert.
Yeah, as long as the card looks good.
Yeah. And the reason why is because, okay, there's 2 things with 2X certs. There's the obvious that the grading scales for 2X certs weren't as stringent as maybe other errors were. So people really will identify the cards that are in super poor condition. But you got to keep in mind the 2X cert era was also a time where you really only sent your best cards there too. So a lot of the cards that are 10s are actually in really good condition, because I come from the time of you grade a PSA, you grade a 9, you break even. You grade a 10, you're going to make some money. The 2 cert error, that was really what that error was about. You graded a 9, you break even. You grade a 10, you make money. So even then, people were sending their good quality cards, and the condition of the cards that were available back then opposed to today for the more vintage type stuff. Like, obviously modern's a different story, but modern didn't even exist then. But the vintage stuff that was there, the pool of cards that you could choose from in better condition was greater during that time period in other periods. So again, it comes to buying the card, but I'm very happy. I have some 2 cert errors that are super clean, man. Like, a lot of the stuff is still looks like it was pack fresh, like from pack to sleeve. And some of the people who were grading those cards on the highest end, that's what they were doing. They were breaking boxes even then. So
yeah. I just bought a 2 cert vintage Yu-Gi-Oh card that's rather expensive, but I got to reholder it because it's one of the ones where it does not fit inside the slab. The slab's got all this extra area. So I sent it to get re-slabbed just because of how loose it was inside of the case. It was crazy.
I see Pokemon Classics in the chat. Pokemon Classics got some really old slabs, where he'll post them up and people will ask him like, is this a fake PSA slab? Because it doesn't look like a PSA slab. So I think he's fielded a few of those questions.
It's got to have the lighthouse on it, right? No.
Yeah. So no, I'm very fine with buying those cards. I think that whole argument is a little overblown because, like I said, and again, when you look at cards from that timeline, they're only the highest end cards because back then, it's not like today. Today you could send everything, whatever you want. You got some random EX Team Rocket returns, reverse hollow, uncommon.
Right.
Send it. You know,
Exactly.
send it. Go ahead. You'll probably like break even or make money depending if you hit a 9 or a 10. Like those cards are selling for like $30, $40. Like you make money doing that stuff. Back then, there was zero market for that. Maybe there would have been like the one guy who would have gave you $20 for it, but so it's funny. I don't know. I just think it's overblown, that whole argument.
Yep. I agree completely.
Yeah, Peak to Chew said, I just want my $18 sub back. LL. Dude, we all want. I'm like, I know. Again, we already talked about him earlier. But Old School Pokemon said he's like tapped out of PSA inventory, and I'm also tapped out of PSA inventory because that was the first to go. You know, and again, when I say PSA inventory, I'm talking about what I'm willing to sell opposed to like what's in my PC. There's a big difference there.
Yeah, I think the $18 ones might be a mix. I'm almost at 2 months for a $50 submission.
Okay.
Which is
what grading tier is it in? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or not grading tier. What
PSA.
What number? Yeah, step in the process.
It's grading still, number 4. Like I'm thinking they lost it. I don't know. It's crazy.
Let's see. If anybody in the chat has any questions. Pokemon Classic said he's still waiting on his March 2021 submission. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's funny. I'm curious what happens when PSA gets through the backlog. I'm curious on their podcast or if they, actually release it, because believe it or not, the transparency from PSA has been pretty amazing. And again, this might sound like, Pokemon Classic said he was a boomer there, but again, this is boomer talking, but PSA never was super transparent about anything. Their entire business model has changed drastically. Like more or less, where they are in grading, like what months have they made their way through. Their Instagram account shows exactly how many cards they've graded that month. They've gone one step further. They're breaking it down like Pokemon, football, basketball, stuff like that. Like that never happened. It was who knows when they're grading, where they were.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Now, all the people that sent through middlemans and stuff like that, I think that is a totally separate, and, T's and P's, RIP to everybody out there who had that happen to them. But
luckily not me, man. It's I only graded through middleman a couple times, and then I was like, I'm just gonna do it myself, save myself some money. So
yeah, I always did it myself too. I was gonna give Graded Gem just like a shot because they kind of came out the gates, pretty strong, and everybody was talking about them, but it wasn't worth it for me. And then when I was kind of ready to do it just to test them out, I was like, oh, maybe I'll make a video. PSA was already shut down. They stopped taking submissions.
Yeah. How many cards did you send? $18 tier.
I sent 90 on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had so it was funny. Like my submission kept going like this, up, down, up, down. So I think I pulled out like 120 cards originally. Then I whittled it down to 105. Then I added like 80. And then I was like at 200 and stuff like that. And then when I actually went and did the submission, I more or less eliminated 1 out of every 2 cards. I was like, not worth it, not worth it, not worth it. Until eventually when I did the submission, it was 90.
Nice.
What about you? How many did you send?
Big fat 0. Yeah. I have the membership, and all the cards I want to grade would go into my personal collection. So I'm not in a super hurry, but I wouldn't be flipping them. I got probably around 200 cards of all vending series and some other stuff. Some World of Warcraft trading cards, some more of those. Yeah.
No, my grading pile is already there's cards I was looking at just the other day, and I was like, I really, really wish I sent this card. I really wish I did, but it's hard to take risks. Everybody hears $18 and they think it's super cheap, but it's not that cheap. It's not $10, but it's not $30 either.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny what a couple bucks in this hobby opens up. And when that $10 opens again, it's going to be pretty intense.
It's going to be a gold rush. It's going to be submit your stuff as fast. It's definitely going to be done through lottery to start. I'm sure it's got to be, but we'll see.
I would have told you that for 18 though, man. And 18, they just said, we're going to open up the floodgates. What do you guys got? Bring it, you know?
Gotta love the national. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seem to do something special for it every year. Crazy. Your podcast, man, that was pretty awesome. Watching that last one. That thing was a banger.
Yeah, man. It was
nuts.
Yeah, there was a point in that podcast where like I kind of like sat back and I like looked at the screen and I was like, oh, this is fake. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Like this isn't really happening. And I think it's going to be really hard to do that again.
Yeah, it's that was cool. It's definitely cool to see all those players in together at the same time. But even without those guys, man, that just your guys' chemistry is uncanny. It's great, the three of you. So
yeah, no, it's always a lot of fun. I mean, Ryan's Ryan, Rattle's Rattle, I'm me, so
yep,
it's fun. But what I enjoyed with that podcast, because I mean, obviously I was a part of it and watching it build the way it built. Like it wasn't as if you needed like little things to happen first, right? Because nobody comes on unless one other person's on before it, maybe, you know?
Yep.
And so it started off with I got Rusty on. Originally, I was going to have Rusty just come on as a surprise to Ryan and Rattle and not let them know. And then like the day of, I was like, hey guys, just so you know, Rusty's going to come on. So when Rusty came on and then he brought Gem Mint and then Rattle obviously knows Gary King Pokemon. He came from Rattle's premiere and all this stuff. And it was just like building these steps. And then Scott doesn't come on unless Gary's on.
Yeah.
Gary doesn't come on unless Rattle comes on. And he probably doesn't come on unless like Gem Mint's already on. And the fact that Rusty was on, like he probably doesn't come on unless those two guys. So it's like you had to just keep building this until eventually you got Scott Pratt on. And for anybody who's not new to this hobby, like getting Scott on a podcast is fucking impossible, you know? But then to have Pokemon Classics in there and Radar, and it's just, and then Jake and Dan. And, you know, the crazy thing is by the end of that podcast, like you had all these people on. Dan pulls the Charizard, right? Like anytime, and this is the thing about Pokemon. I don't care if you're 4 years old or you're 80 years old, as long as you know about this hobby, pulling a Charizard's still excited, man. And it is a shame that the way we were sharing screens on Zoom, like everybody's face, you weren't able to see it when Dan pulled that.
See the reactions, yeah.
But you know, some of those guys that are in the collection or in that video have some of the largest collections in the world, and at that time, their faces all were like excited. You know,
that's cool, yeah.
Yeah, and when you got like PokeRev in there, who has one of the largest collections, and Scott and Gary and all those guys, when they see a Charizard pulled, like you hear them screaming in the background. Like that's this hobby for you. And sure, Charizard base set is a relative unlimited, a relatively expensive card, like in a 10, but in comparison to these guys' collections, like maybe it's not expensive, but they're still like so exciting. So when people talk about all the money and stuff, it's like, no, it's not about the money. Like it's about the nostalgia and everything that's all rolled up. And that podcast and that episode kind of rolled all that into one in some weird way. And yeah. And it, there was a part in there where when Scott's on, he's like, wait, I didn't know Nick's on, like PokeRev. And then Rev's like, hey, what's up? It's just like this. It was just funny watching it happen. It was fun.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
Like 3 times. I think you're the Shamrock, man. You got Rock Pokemon pulled a Charizard with you. Basic Trainer was near you when he pulled his, and now Mr. Catch-em-all. It's that's crazy. That you were in the presence of all of those. It's just wild.
Yeah. It's just so this is the thing too, where when you look at that podcast, like when you look at what happened, that didn't happen on like a channel with 100,000 subscribers or a million subscribers. it happened on a channel with 3,000 subscribers. Like you had, I mean, that's special. And that just shows you like some of the people in the hobby. And it's freaking bananas, man, right? Like,
Yeah. Yep. Crazy. So I'll have to see if I can get my first ever base set pack since 1999 to open it in Denver, because I'll guarantee the Charizard with you there, pretty much.
yeah, man.
Green Shiz
So-
open a pack. I ain't got a pack, Mister.
So I saw on your most recent video, you opened up a heavy first edition WotC pack. You want to tell everyone what you opened?
Yeah, so that was my second WotC pack this year, and I haven't opened one since 1999 before that. So I opened one from PokeRev's mystery box. I bought one random mystery thing, got a jungle light pack.
That's pretty
Pulled
good
it.
odds.
Yeah, 1 out of 25, I think. I pulled that, and it was a non-hollow Kangaskhan. I should have waited, but I wanted to do it just because I was already in the middle of the video. So it would have been a lame video if I just cut it off after, like, oh, there it is, put it aside. Like, that would have been pretty dumb. But at Heritage Auctions a week and a half ago, you can get some pretty cheap stuff there sometimes still. First edition jungle pack was $250, and Heritage is generous enough to weigh their packs and post weights, unlike PWCC or most eBay. Some eBay sellers don't. They call it unweighed or whatever, but they post the weight. So I saw it was heavy and pulled the hollow Kangaskhan, which was pretty cool to go with my non-hollow from Rev's pack. So
How is the condition of that Kangaskhan?
I'd say it's probably a solid PSA 9. So I don't think there's any shot at a PSA 10. It's got a couple print lines, a little bit of silvering. The back's pretty clean. So I'm going to shoot for a CGC 9.5. Going to shoot my shot at it because it's worth more than a PSA 9, but I also don't think I'll sell it. So it's another reason I might just put it in the CGC slab, because it'll either get a 9 or a 9.5. So yeah.
It's still a heavy jungle pack. You got the experience to open it. I did see you didn't pull any of like the big big commons, like the first edition Pikachu or first edition Eevee. You kind of missed those, but you got the Meowth. You missed the Cubone.
Just Meowth I got, Cubone I got.
Oh, you did get the Cubone.
Yep.
Cubone's decent.
Yep.
Jungle's not a big set, you know, so in one pack you're hitting, well, I guess 2 of those cards are energies, so you're still going to hit 9 cards out of what, a 63 card set. Like, it's funny, like, to think about how many packs you have to open for jungle to complete master sets, opposed to like modern stuff, where now modern's like you need to open up thousands. You know.
Oh yeah.
S.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it. It'd be so much cheaper just to frickin' buy. Like, I see what a Danny Phantom, because usually he's opening, and TCA Gaming opening up to create these master sets and then giving it away, which is insane. The thousands of packs you got to rip to get some of those alt arts is insane.
Yeah. So Kristen Diaz earlier in the chat asked if I had already mentioned, but I had cracked GMA had graded a Hypno from Aquapolis, the hollow, and they gave it a 10, and I bought it, cracked it, and submitted it to PSA. I did talk about it a few times on my channel now, and it ended up coming back a 9. So, but the money was, I mean, like, flippability for that card was still there even at a 9 because of how low the GMA price sold for. So
yeah. How's your Skyridge 10 set coming?
it's coming along slowly. Yeah. The problem is right now is I'm not selling any Skyridge cards, so I'm replacing some 9s with 10s, but I'm not selling the 9s because I still think they're undervalued.
Yeah.
So
that's how I feel about all my cards right now.
so it slows you down, like, money wise.
Yeah.
Because it's not a cheap set, you know, especially when you look at like some of the heavy hitters, like if you want to go for like Gyarados 10s, Umbreon 10s, Gengar 10s, you know, Articuno 10s, even like the Arcanine 10, any of those, there's a lot. I mean, there's 32 hollows in Skyridge, not including the crystals. Like, crystals is a whole nother level. You want to start buying those in 10s, but you know, just the regular 32 hollows. There's definitely a lot of stages there where those cards can be very expensive in 10s, And even in nines, you're still talking between $400 and $500. Like Articuno 9 is still between, it's probably like $400 in a 9. So I don't want to sell the 9 for just 400.
Yeah.
So I start wrapping up a lot of money in 9s and 10s. And that money is just very, very stagnant at this point. It's not doing anything. And then it's a massive set. So you got to buy. So now some of my cards, I have the hollow in the 9, the hollow in the 10, and then I have the reverse hollow in a 9 and the reverse hollow in a 10. So now you got 4 of the same exact cards, 2 9s, 2 10s, for some of those, like I said, the more expensive ones in there get extremely expensive. Like, sure, if you want to go after the PSA 9 Dugong and the PSA 10 Dugong for Skyridge, like that, those 2 cards aren't going to break the bank.
Yeah.
But other cards do. Like, it's crazy. And like, I don't know. I'm picking up a lot of older certs. Like you mentioned the 2 certs. I picked up a lot recently just in Skyridge. TCA game and had a little fire sale of them a couple months back, maybe. I picked up some of the 9s really cheap. So.
Oh yeah. How come have you ever been like a Japanese collector, like the what's it called, the mountain set? Same set but in Japanese.
Mysterious Mountains.
Mysterious Mountains, yeah. So have you ever been
I have a couple. I have a lot, and I have a lot of Pokemon cards in a lot of different languages. Believe it or not, one of the languages I have the most Skyridge cards is in Italian, and that's just really obscure. It was just a binder collection I bought once upon a time ago, and it had a lot of Italian Skyridge cards in there. But I'd pick up a lot of Japanese cards for a lot of different sets. The only problem is I'm not like hyper focused for anything. It's if you were to look at my Japanese set, there's no like, what's the word I'm looking for? There is no like definitive, like, I don't know, collector mindset to it. It's just all over the place. Like one of my most recent Japanese purchases I did was like a Rockets Moltres, to give you an example.
Yep.
So they're just all over the place. What about you? What about you for Japanese?
Yeah, not really been set collecting. So if there's a pretty Zapdos Japanese card, which there's a shit ton of them, I'll pick one up. If it's a vintage one, I haven't been buying vintage or modern Japanese Zapdos cards, but yeah, that's kind of the way I've been going about it. Never been. I appreciated them being cheaper. I just like the English ones because it's what I had as a kid. I don't care about reading it or not reading it. Not one of my reasons by any means, but I just like what I like, really.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. But like I said, so the words I was kind of looking for, my Japanese collection has 0 set identity. That's what I wanted to say. Like if you were to look at it, they'd be like, there's no identity here. And I'd be like, you see that card? Well, that's, because I like this one random thing on it, and stuff like that. Pokemon Classics said that podcast was one of the highlights of his summer and one of the best Pokemon experience he's had in 20 plus years of collecting. Dude, I'm with you there. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had. Pikachu said, PK and Shiz, are you guys going to Denver Collecticon? I will be there. I've already bought my plane ticket. Shiz, what about you?
Yep, we'll be there. Just don't know if I'm vending or if I'm just going to be walking around lurking. So part of me wants to just walk around so I can hang out with as many people as I can. I kind of don't want to get stuck behind a booth. So if I do end up vending, might bring a friend so he can kind of manage it, but we'll see. I don't know.
So have you ever split a booth with anyone?
No, I've always, just the last time I did it, it was just my one single table is all I need. I'm not as crazy as old school Pokemon. He'll have at least 2 tables. I think he had 3 the last time, but he's got 2 this time at Long Beach when we're next to each other. So we'll be able to swap and cover each other's stuff and let each other walk around, which would be nice.
That's good. Yeah. Basic Trainer and Pokemon DNA are both split in a table in Long Beach.
Yep.
I was randomly going through my phone. I was more or less clearing space because I do a lot of like my YouTube videos just through iMovie on my phone whenever I'm like recording stuff.
Yep.
So my phone just runs out of memory like instantly if I keep those videos on. So I was starting to delete some stuff and I found the video where it was like the full uncut version of Rock Pokemon opening up his Japanese base set pack. If you didn't watch that video, he pulls his art. It's like pretty fun, but I was like, let me do this before I delete this video off my phone. Let me put it on YouTube so it exists now forever.
Yep.
And then I also found like a 12-second video of Basic Trainer talking the Pokemon DNA. It was the first time they ever met at the Leonhart Pop Shop. It was like just a real random video. I was filming his Mewtwo Gold Star, but I just, for whatever reason, was filming that Gold Star, and I happened to like pull up my phone, and there was Pokemon DNA talking the Basic Trainer. It was the first time those two ever met. So I shared that little reel to those two.
Yep.
And it was just one of those random things, like, who would have thought that like somebody you would have just randomly met one time who had zero presence like in the YouTube community would now be where Pokemon DNA is. So that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Think that'll happen again? Pop-up shop?
Leonhardt's pop-up shop? I don't think so. I think he took a lot of heat from people who went there with wrong expectations. Like, I think when me, Rock, and Basic went there, our expectations were we went there thinking it was going to be the worst. Like, what's the worst possible case scenario could happen? So what's everything me, Rock, and Basic need to do to make it the most fun?
Yeah.
Meet up, have a game plan, be there super early, be the first ones in the door, just in case there's a line. Do not let that affect you. Like, so we got there early. We said, we're going to get whatever the most expensive VIP ticket is, because we're not going to let, like, you don't fly halfway around the country and then you get the VIP one for $50 less, and then you get in the door an hour less, but end up being in line for 3 hours, you know?
Yeah.
You don't spend hundreds of dollars on flights to do that. So we brought our own packs. We were like, they were calling the place, seeing what the bag policy was. We were doing everything. We went through Leonhardt's videos. We found out what the pack trick was going to be on these packs. Like, is it going to be base set 3 cards from the back, or is it going to be 2 cards from the back, which is a very obscure, but it comes out of some certain blisters. Like, we just went down the rabbit hole as deep as we could, and everything paid off. Where we had a great time, some people had a terrible time, but the people that had a terrible time, like, I think it was really hard on Leonhart in the fact that he probably won't do it again.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That was something pretty cool. I didn't go, obviously, but spectating was pretty interesting to see. It was crazy. Lots of effort for sure going to that, but
oh, definitely. Pokemon Classic says, so first off, Rattle's giving me shit because I don't know how to do anything but Zoom.
yeah.
And I told him I would do it by our podcast for end of this month, but I'm trying. Give me a break.
Got nothing but time, right? No.
I got like no time lately. Pokemon Classic says he remembers thinking gym sets were hard to finish, but modern sets put them to shame. Yeah, man.
100%. Gym sets with reverses would have been wild, but
yeah,
that would have been really cool.
Well, gym sets. Oh, you're saying if Jim had reverse, yeah, because Legendary Collection was the first reverse set. No, I got you though.
Yeah.
Speaking of Legendary Collection, you've been going after. I know you got the Legendary Collection Zapdos in a 10, which is a pretty impressive card. You still going after any Legendary Collection cards, or just that one?
It's just that one, really. It's way too expensive. I've had somebody, like, I have mine. It was like high listed on eBay forever at like $1,500. I just have my stuff on there, like everything pretty well, not now, but I did like a year ago. Everything was listed on eBay in case I need to flip a switch and sell some stuff. But now people are asking me for some first edition cards, and my Zapdos card. Somebody just PM'd me on Instagram about my $4,700 shadowless PSA 10 Zapdos. I'm like, what's happening? Like, this is all in like the last 2 weeks. So I'm about to delete them off of eBay because I do not want to have to rebuy them. So yeah, it's crazy.
I think the market's moving in the exact direction. I always said it's gonna move into the high end. Sorry guys. I know people don't like to hear that, but because this is one thing that the boom brought a lot of. the boom brought a lot of new collectors, and new collectors, given enough time, will eventually move to rarity, scarcity. Like, that's going to happen. And when that happens, that means the high grades. So as this market starts to age itself again, because again, a lot of people forget, but we went from a very healthy market in like 2017 to 2018. A lot of people are going to remember like the Pokemon crash that happened after the Pokemon Go boom and prices had retraced in 2017, 2018. But something that people don't talk about enough is that it was healthy, and maybe not a financial standpoint where everything was like going to the moon, which we saw in 2016, and obviously not at the extent we saw in 2020, 2021. But it was still a very healthy market because it was a very refined market, it was a really educated market too. Like, it was very clear what people were going after during that time. And the mindset of collectors was definitely on a little bit more of a high end, I would say.
Yep.
So we're definitely, I feel, moving back to that sort of healthy hobby where people are going after it with very similar mindsets again. Where in 2020 and 2021, it was like, give me everything. Oh, this is a brand new grading card company that just existed and somebody just made it yesterday. Here's $20, grade my card, like, thank God we're moving out of that unhealthiness and moving into a more healthy market.
Yeah, I love all this competition, man. It's the heritage, the eBays, the PWCC, and then the grading companies competing against each other. It is going to do nothing but help us as collectors and sellers, because I'm net both basically, but probably definitely more collector based on what I have. And so I look forward to all this crap, man. It's awesome.
So Drew just dropped a link to DaGreen Shiz channel. If any of you guys are not subscribed, I recommend you hitting that link, coming back here, or hitting that link, going there, give them a quick subscribe, come right back here. 2x speed. You won't miss anything, I promise.
Are you a 2x speed? Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Go.
I was gonna say, do you listen to videos in 2x or 1.5 or something like that? Or
2x all day.
Everybody, huh? Wow.
Everyone. The only person who's hard to listen to in 2x speed and is Danny Phantom. He's the only one who's a kind of a fast talker anyway. So I watch Danny Phantom and it's like, and I'm like, okay. Danny, you get 1.5x. Everyone else gets 2.
I'm gonna have to try it. Yeah.
Like me, you got to listen to in 2x, but then forget about it. Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles, you need to listen to that man in 2.5x speed. Like, he is a slow talker.
I've never, until like probably the last 2 months, I've always watched every single thing at regular speed.
That's brutal.
Everything.
That's like a purgatory for people when they die. It's like, watch these videos in regular time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So what made you move to the 1x?
But I still don't even because when I watch Dan's, because it's all spreadsheets, if I put it on 1.5x, like, I can't follow along. Like, his is content, I need to look at the screen. Like, I can't watch it while I'm working because I'm trying to multitask. Like, I need to look at it and take it in. I can't, like, your content while I'm working at home, I can just play it and listen. It's amazing. So I don't really care what speed it's at. But yeah, the catch 'em all stuff, I need to definitely focus if I want to learn something. So otherwise, like, I'll rewind like 5 minutes. I'll be like, what the hell did I just listen? Like, yeah.
So Pokemon Classic says he plans on being in Denver too, Matt. I hope we can meet up when I'm there, man. I'd like to get to meet you in person. He's one of my favorite people in the hobby, man. I always talk about Pokemon Classics. I always say everyone somehow finds something negative to say about everyone in this hobby. I have yet to find the person who said one negative thing about him. So
cheers to you, Classics, for teaching, man. It is my wife's got a teaching degree. She hasn't started teaching, but she had her child and has stayed at home for the last 4 years. But it is not a job. It's not an easy job, man. So definitely appreciate your service.
Yeah, definitely. So Parish Pokemon said, there's vids of backpack thieves at card shows. He's just like, how stupid desperate can people be? LO, just walk up and grab stuff thinking nobody will notice. Crazy. So do you know about any of these videos? I haven't seen any.
Backpack thieves?
Yeah, at Collecticons, no.
No,
I
no.
I
The
haven't seen
only
any of those videos.
Yeah, I just heard of the one guy on the Vaulted podcast, not Shiv'em. I don't know if you watch it at all, but he had left his Pelican case full of cards at the National somewhere mistakenly.
Oh, how did he get it back or somebody walk away with
Yep.
it?
So he had a Don Diego sticker on his case, and somebody went and gave it to her, and they went to the National together, basically.
Wow.
Not
That's
together,
crazy.
but they were hanging out, I guess. So yeah,
Oh,
they knew who she
sure.
was, and luckily had her sticker
Did he
on it.
have a
So
table and they stole it off the table, or was it his personal?
he had too many things he was carrying and didn't even realize he left it, and was walking. Is like, oh shit.
That's scary.
Yeah,
That's like when
I
you're
would.
walking and you put your hand in your back pocket and you realize your wallet's missing. You're like,
Oh
oh shit.
yeah, I would. Yeah, that's when your balls dropping you out of your pants.
Again, we keep saying his name, but Pokemon Classic said he sold a PSA 10 Shadowless Zapdos for 300 once and a first edition PSA 10 for 500. Those are
Showing
good
your
prices.
age, man.
Now you sound like a boomer.
Yeah, now he was like, damn, that's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I jealous. I'm excited like now. Honestly, prices like first edition Fossil Zapdos, $500. Like I want the prices to keep dropping. This is amazing for me being first time into this. This is cheap for me. Getting cheaper and cheaper.
So it's funny you say that. Now, do you think that so I do believe that there are there are new price floors for a lot of cards in this hobby. But there's a lot of cards in this hobby which were extremely overvalued at certain points where there are not price floors. Like, this is the thing. The two sentences I just said are extremely contradictive of each other, right? One of them I just said there's cards that have very strong price floors and cards that have very weak card floor or price floors.
Yep.
And now this is the most important thing is people who are now in this hobby, this is when you need to start really doing good navigating of the hobby, because there could be some cards right now in 2022 which are going to be at the lowest we've ever seen them. And then there could be some cards that can continue the drop for the foreseeable future. And some of these cards could hit rock bottom floors and maybe they'll bounce back a little bit, but like money will be stagnant in some of these cards for like a decade. This is a tough time to navigate right now, especially with the flood of a lot of stuff we saw.
Yep. And all this every 3 months we get more modern, taking more market share, and it's very interesting. Like, because I'm in like the video game market as well, and it's vastly different because you're not getting new vintage video games printed, taking market share from the vintage or whatever. So it's insane. Like the population we have on cards is extremely high compared to video games, which is why you see there was a $400,000 Zelda game that sold yesterday on Heritage Auctions. Just it's insane. Like the Charizard's at 120 something PSA 10. Like there's more people in Pokemon, which helps. There's more people buying Pokemon than video games, but there being only one in the highest grade in a video game is like you got millionaires fighting for it. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops as we get older and more people start careers and making more money. And
well, it's funny. Like, one of the things I tell you I look at all the time is I'm constantly watching Pokemon ending soonest auctions, right? And it's very clear the things that are selling and very clear the things that are not selling. And one of the things that never sell is for whatever reason, I don't know if this is a selling tactic some people like to do, but a lot of people like to do buy it now auction prices for auctions. And I'll never understand that. Like they never have bids on it. Please stop doing that, people.
Can you filter? This is a question because I've always wondered, but I've never searched hard enough. Can I filter on eBay? Like if I'm looking at auctions, can I set a floor price? I want to look at only things that are
Yeah, you could do it.
below
Oh yeah, you could
$20.
do a min.
Okay.
Yeah, you could definitely do a min and max.
So I can eliminate those people that have their buy it now like 250s or whatever or something like that.
Yeah, but then you might start like excluding a lot of stuff that you want to
Yeah,
see though.
yeah, there could be stuff already bid on, and yeah, so that's my problem. It's all mixed together, and I can't unmix it, so it's pretty annoying.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do something. We'll try this out real quick. And
OBS.
I do not have OBS, but I can share my screen.
Oh,
So we'll just look at auctions ending soonest, you know? And
yeah,
it's always like the same stuff. But like this, like what's the condition of this? Like, do I want to start clicking on all these though?
no damage. Bottom left corner had some damage, but
Yeah. I think I'll have to stop because I already know this is already bad if I start going down this rabbit hole on this channel and where it's just me looking at every single like ending soonest auctions and it'll just be like, oh, this is why I don't like this, is why I like this.
yeah, yep.
But
So are you obviously in PWCC? Do you dabble at all in heritage, or are you mainly on
nope,
PWCC?
I don't dabble into heritage. I really should though. It's something it's probably like a huge blunder I'm making right now, but I don't know.
I would say it's easy just in the sense that there's literally 100 auctions that end every week versus
Okay.
PWCC. That's like my live streams are like the auction is 40 minutes. For that's the weeklies, but the PWCC stuff is insane. I stopped doing that because I wanted Sundays with the family at night and stuff. So I figured I'd just ruin my Wednesdays with work, golf league, and then live streaming. So
Yeah.
but it's cool, man. I'm flipping stuff through heritage to work up to my PSA 9 first edition Zard. So it's fun.
Yeah, I like to watch a lot of stuff on PWCC. How have you felt PWCC prices have been lately? Do you think they're still doing okay? I mean,
Yeah, it's I think they have been for the most part. I haven't sold through them. I know Cam got destroyed selling some stuff, but I don't think there was higher value items. I think it was semi cheap, below $75 or whatever. But for the most part, I would say selling cheaper stuff on there does never do well because it just gets buried in 75 pages of Pokemon cards, 24 items per page. Like to take the time to, like, I've done it. Like, you go through every single page. It takes probably an hour to highlight the ones you're following. It's like a job. So there's definitely stuff that slips under the cracks still. And looking at multiple TCGs like I do, it's a suck of time to prepare and look through all this stuff. So there's definitely stuff slipping, but looking, there's a bunch of PSA 10s ending this week. The prices seem to be doing decent already. It's going to be crazy.
so Peak to Chew asked a question. PK, how do you balance your personal life with your Pokemon life? What kind of strategies do you exercise to avoid being burnt out / unbalanced? So I think for me personally, like the number one thing is if your wife or your girlfriend doesn't support your Pokemon habit, it's gonna be an uphill battle for you. I don't have that problem. Like 2020, 2021 was like it kind of gave me like a get out of jail free card. Like once we started selling stuff and once she never saw money coming from this hobby ever, right? Like there was always oh, there will be money in the future, but once the money actually started flowing in, like I don't want to say like that's all she cared about, but it kind of was like, so it got me a permanent get out of jail free card, and that's it. Like for me, like find yourself a good wife, good girlfriend who doesn't mind it, you know? I have my little corner in the basement, and it gradually like gets bigger as time goes by and like pushes herself out a little bit. My corner gets a little bit bigger, but she doesn't even like she never walks in that corner ever. I you know, I get packages daily come in, like on the doorstep in the mailbox, stuff like that. Like, dude, if you gotta start hiding packages, hiding stuff from the mail, like if
Get a
that's
PO
you,
box.
that's gonna be tough, man. Like I don't have any of that. Um Another thing is I always do videos when it works for me. Like I don't have set schedules for lives. I do lives after we eat dinner, we put the baby to bed, and that's it. Like this is my time, 9 o'clock. Like as soon as this video is over, I'm gonna probably hop in the shower, brush my teeth, go to bed. Like I don't have any sort of time management issues ever. The only things I end all when I don't do a lot of auctions, but when I do auctions, I only ever list on Sundays. So they end on Sundays. I do 7-day auctions. I'll list on a Sunday. I don't do it where it like releases at a certain time. I'll just literally list like 5 or 7 auctions in a row, just spend like an hour listing 7 auctions. They all end within the hour. Hopefully, they all get paid for on Sunday night. And then Monday morning, I just go to the post office with all my auctions. And then I have my buy it nows. Yeah, that's a little different and stuff like that. But when it comes to that, like eBay is very easy. I run 3 different eBay accounts. One of them I almost never use. 2 of them I use a lot. I don't know. It's easy for me, but I could see where it can get hard. And in this hobby, when you're going to start to do big purchases and stuff, like if money is an issue too, like that could really wane on you. Like Pokemon always 100% of the time, unless you are an actual business and you're running a business and you've gone through and you've gotten your LLC and you're doing all that and you've made that real true decision that you are a Pokemon business. When you are not a Pokemon business, which I am not a Pokemon business, anything you are spending on Pokemon, you should have like that capital available, meaning you shouldn't be like going bankrupt on this hobby. This hobby should always be fun. It should never be like financially bankrupting you. And once you figure all that out, dude, it's just smooth sailing. And then YouTube and all this stuff has actually like reinvigorated me for this hobby. Like the interactions I have now, like whatever pleasure or enjoyment people are getting out of listening to these lives, I'm getting it back twofold from them, like reading the chats, interacting with the community and stuff like that. Stuff I've never done in the past just because maybe I was a little too shy or whatever. But now that I get that out, like I'm using that, like I'm almost eating it up. It's like if this was a video game, like I'd be like Mario eating mushrooms. Like, it's like energizing. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. What would your answer to that question be, Josh? I know that was a long-winded rant, but
Yeah, my wife's pretty supportive, just the same as you. She was the first person on my new channel podcast, so and talking about Pokemon and her opinions about things was pretty cool to just have that kind of recorded and locked up into the YouTube, which is sweet. But yeah, definitely need a supportive partner. And it's got to be that, really. You need to be supporting her dreams and goals, and definitely it goes both ways. And I, similar to you, I have 2 kids. I know you got one. Just that time alone, I don't want to take away from that. So usually YouTube and all that and Pokemon is all after the kids' bedtime. So it's just management. I need to spend time with as much time with my family as I can. And then she does some of her hobbies at night when I do mine, which is awesome. If your lady doesn't have any hobbies, or if she even doesn't like watching TV and she's just like, oh, you're doing this again, come on, like what's going on, like that would not it would your quality of life would not be amazing. So it's and money's a thing also, like you said, just play it smart, be full transparency with everything going on. And that's it, man.
That's it. That full transparency thing. And yeah, you just gotta get past it. I see Cool Trainer Ryan in the chat. He said, I racked up 150K of credit card debt collected pre-2020. Or you can do that. This is like this is not financial advice. But if your balls are as big as Ryan's and you just want to max out your credit cards at the literally the most perfect moment in the history of Pokemon to load up on sealed product like Ryan did right before one of the most largest Pokemon boons in the history of this collecting hobby, if you just happen to time it the way he did, then yes,
Might
you
be doing
made
all
out
right.
fine.
Yeah, I wonder if it'd be a play then, not financial advice, but to rack up 150K credit card debt, bury it into your backyard, everything you purchase, and then file bankruptcy, clear the credit, and then
What do you want to do though? Would you want to rack up 150K in debt doing what Ryan was doing and buying what Ryan was buying, or would you want to do it buying Battle Styles and Fusion Strike and fucking
Yeah.
Sword and Shield base? Like, is that, or
Yep.
like Ryan was going out, picking up sealed cases of fucking Dragon Frontiers, him and Rev were splitting, like that's a little different than buying cases of Fusion Strike. Like, the returns on those, a little different.
Yep.
Dollar amounts, a little different.
Yeah, I'm jealous of his sealed Yu-Gi-Oh collection. It's pretty awesome.
No, it's I mean, to answer his question, how to not get burned out, like for me, it's just you gotta have support around you. Like if you don't have the support, man, you're doomed to failure in this hobby. I couldn't do it. Cool
Yeah.
Trainer Ryan said, whoa, that was 2020. Okay. We all can't be Cool Trainer Ryan, put it that way. There was never a point in this hobby, and there's still not a point in this hobby where I could just, buy $150,000 worth of product. Like,
No,
good for you, man.
he's got a big basement. That's for damn sure.
Mason said he feels attacked. What do we say about Mason? Oh, it's Mason buying all the Fusion Strike. Oh, I think maybe that's why he feels attacked. That's fun.
Yeah. That's the way it is.
John Doe said, I've been trained stacking the credit cards now. Dude, I don't even think I could get $150,000 line of credit if I wanted.
That's it's pretty steep. That's pretty
Yeah.
steep. You can buy a nice Lamborghini, a used one.
Oh, so here's another thing too, that peak, and Ryan kind of mentioned, or I guess he touched on a little bit, but he said mine was a lot of buying raw cards, taking risks, and finding deals too. That's another thing. So when Pikachu asked that question, what keeps you from getting burned out in this hobby? I thoroughly enjoy this hobby. I enjoy searching for cards, the hunt, like trying to get good prices. Like I enjoy just searching eBay. Like I don't find it taxing, and when it becomes taxing or I don't enjoy it, I
Yeah.
just close the app on my phone. Like if you're not enjoying this hobby, like I've had people on this channel before, and like we've had little banters back and forth, and one of their arguments against me was, well, to do all that, it takes a lot of time to buy sealed modern product. Like it doesn't take any time. Where like in my head, I'm like, even when I do buy sealed modern product, but even when I do that, dude, I spend so much freaking time nickel and diamond sealed modern product to find the best possible price. I'm following like multiple Twitter accounts, like for Pokemon modern drops and stuff. And
Yeah.
I pass on a lot of them, and I'll only click on like one out of every 30 posts that person might make, because it is sometimes truly the best deal. Like even when it comes to modern stuff, the stuff that's supposed to be easy, like I spend a ton of time waiting for prices to drop, because that's me though. Like, and I've talked about it in the past, and I've noticed this is a very common thing in this hobby. The people that are really going after some high-end stuff, who have decent collections or are willing to spend a lot of money, a lot of times those people are extremely, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they are not frugal or wait, frugal. What's the word I'm looking for? They're very cheap people. Cheap in every single aspect of their entire life, with the exception of Pokemon. Like, Rusty's a great example. One of the advice when people ask Rusty, like, Rusty, what's a way I could save money? Rusty talks about it all the time. He says, when you go out to dinner, order water. He said that in a million different live streams and a million different chats, because he's right. Like, and you're talking Rusty. That's a guy who just bought a $250,000 first edition base set sheet. This is a guy telling you when you go out to a restaurant, you should order water. This guy has more money than everyone in this chat. And I don't know everybody's financial, but at least if you were to price out his collection, it's more valuable than all of ours drastically. Like, just his uncut sheets are a preposterous amount of money. Like,
yep.
People in this hobby for the rest of their daily lives are usually very cheap. And me and Pokemon Radar talked about this on the last live he was on. It's like, dude, I'm cheap in all aspects of my life. For whatever reason, Pokemon's not one of them. And I don't know why. Maybe that's like a huge fault that I have. But are you cheap in your normal life, or are you willing to spend it? Not to get too personal. You don't have to answer.
No, you're good. I like going out to eat with my wife and kids when we can, which is pretty rare. And I don't generally order pop. What I get, like $4, $3.99 pop. But yeah. So when me and my wife, even like dinner, date nights, I like to splurge a little bit when we get the chance to get out. We got a babysitter. But yeah, in general, pretty like to keep it tight as much as I can. Pretty smart with the money. So
yeah. And I've always been like, I've always invested like forever. And I invested in the stock market like at extremely young age. Jake from Pokenomics talks about the same thing. Like, in 8th grade, I remember being in like the stock market investing club, and it was only me and one other person. And when I was in this club, it was like an after school activity. I would go there and they would give us the newspaper, and then we would have to look at the stock prices in the newspaper, and then we would pick stocks to buy from the stocks in the newspaper, like the prices that were listed. Most people out there, newer collectors, might not even like remember reading newspapers. Like, that's how far back this goes. But I've always been super interested in like investing in all that stuff, and be well diversified in everything else before you go to Pokemon too. Like, be very comfortable in whatever like life position you are. Like, yeah. Like, I don't ever live above my means either. And all these things are little factors that help to make Pokemon so I never get burned out. And to be honest with you, I don't know what it would take to burn me out in Pokemon. I guess one of the things would be, I don't know. I don't really even have an answer.
yeah, I don't know either.
Like, because the thing is I could just turn it on and off. Like, this channel, like, if I don't want to make a video one night, I just don't.
Yep.
If I don't want to search eBay, I don't. If I don't want to sell anything on eBay, I just still have everything listed with just stupid prices that don't sell. And then when they do sell, it's like, son of a bitch, like,
Yeah.
I'll go to the post office or whatever. It's just,
When was the last time you missed a PWCC auction?
every time I do chats on here, I'll miss them. And it's fantastic. It's like saving myself
Like,
hundreds of dollars.
Damn, I saved money this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
No, funny. Yeah. It's funny too. Like, I'm very picky sometimes when it comes to purchasing cards, and then like not picky other times. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just like how I'm feeling that week too, which again, That's just me. I don't know how they explain it. I guess somebody would have to like hang out with me for like a month and just watch everything I do in order for it to make sense to them. Because when it comes to Pokemon and being burned out, when I have these conversations, like what you're doing right now, Josh, is you just are giving me free therapy, because Pokemon goes through my brain so much throughout the day or through the
Yeah.
week, where if I don't talk about this, because I don't have people in my normal life that I could talk about Pokemon with. It's not
Yeah.
like most people listening to this chat probably don't have that person. Yes, Cool Trainer Ryan does have his best friend, which is PokeRev, which is an exception. But for the most of us, we don't have that guy we can call. So I get like super like backed up in my brain where I just have to start talking Pokemon once in a while. Otherwise, it's like almost crippling for me. So that's like the opposite of Pokemon burnout, where it's like you need this from a therapeutic aspect. I don't know.
I'll send you my bill.
Yeah, send you my bill. $69.99 or $69.69.
Yeah. I got friends, two of them were in my wedding. One's plays Pokemon competitively. The other one plays Magic the Gathering Commander, but we're so different. And I still can't even, like, I talked to my friend who plays Pokemon about modern sets because he's up in the know and stuff like that. So he keeps me informed. But as far as graded stuff, he's not involved. He had actually sent me like the Radiant Halucha. He's like, this is my favorite Pokemon card. Send it to PSA for $50. And I was like, all right. And he got a PSA 10. And he was a pop one for like a couple days. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's that too. And I don't know. Professor Oak said, PK, call me any day to offload for real. No cap.
Yeah. Your video you posted, not afraid of heights, obviously, because you would no way in my life ever see me on a freaking top of a house. I'm terrified of heights.
Yeah.
That was a one take wonder. How's that? Just one shot you're done, or how'd it go?
Oh no, that's the magic of the internet, man. I like went out, I like showed the card, I walked out, I like opened my ladder in front of the garage and like went on the top, and then I was like hanging on the roof by like my gutter and like the ladder, because that I actually have like a pretty tall garage, like the top of that roof.
Yeah,
so
they look tall, yeah.
So then the next take, I had to walk the ladder out, and then like I have steps that go up to I have like two front doors. I have like my house is pretty long, like two front doors, and like the second door has steps that go up. So I like put it on the steps so I could like actually get on top of the house. And then, yeah, like it was pretty cool though. It was a cool.
Risked your life for a YouTube short
It's totally. I just wanted to throw CDC slabs off my roof, honestly.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So, any damage come from it, or it's still clean?
From the card?
Yeah.
Oh no, the card's fine.
There you go.
The card's gonna go the PSA.
Nice.
It's definitely gonna have to wait for like $10 grade, and it's a non-hollow Flareon from EX Sandstorm, so that's definitely not an $18 card, even in a 9 or a 10. So
yeah, some of those you're putting a bunch of thought in your shorts, though. I definitely appreciate it. I definitely enjoy some of the mindless content and watching a good minute and a half long video or 30 seconds. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so if any of you guys out there are watching this and you're not subscribed to my Instagram, I recommend you just searching PokeKnowledge on Instagram, giving me a sub, and same thing with DaGreen Shiz after this video. So before that, both the link to his podcast channel and his normal YouTube channel is in the description of this video currently. Click on both those. After this video is over, his Instagram will be in there too. I recommend you giving a subscribe there too. But I've never like really posted on Instagram. I have one regular post, but my first ever reel was that video, and it went mini viral. I have 300 followers, super small following, and within the first 40 minutes, it hit almost 5,000 views in 40 minutes. And then I messaged Basic Trainer and Rock Pokemon. I was like, hey, is this video going like semi-viral? And they're like, yeah, man, for your sub count, like that's a lot. So
Yeah.
they're like, what did you add for hashtags and who did you tag? I said, I didn't add a single hashtag. I didn't tag a single person. And they're like, oh, you got to add hashtags and tags and stuff. So I added hashtags. As soon as I did it, the views stopped instantly. Like it was hitting a wall of views. It was like super high, added hashtags, stopped. I don't know what happened.
Something had to throw the algorithm off. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Algorithms on that crap are so weird.
Yeah. I don't know anything about it. So
yeah. So you think you're going to be posting more reels to Instagram?
I got a video open, or I got a little short I'm going to post tomorrow. It's the proper way to open a MetaZoo pack. I'm going to do my first ever MetaZoo opening. And I promise everybody out there, it will be worth a watch. Especially
you got to tag basic and catch them all collectibles in it.
Yeah. But I don't know. We got a bunch of people watching right now. You guys got to smash that like button. Is that a shameless plug to ask people to smash the like button?
No, it's good. Help grow. Yeah, man. So no MetaZoo for you, huh? Obviously, based on that video you showed me before we jumped on the live. you bought at least one pack.
Yeah, I bought one pack. No MetaZoo for me right now. I'm just it's scary to think. So again, going back to Pikachu's question, getting burned out. I would get burned out if I was having to do like multiple TCGs all the time. Things I buy when it comes to, I have a lot of multiple TCGs, a lot of dead stuff. It's one and dones. Like there's no thinking behind it. There's no research, stuff like that. Like in order to spend the amount of time researching stuff that I do Pokemon, there's just not enough hours in the day. And any knowledge I might have in Pokemon was gained over a long period of time. Like some of the people that are coming in now who have just recently entered, the knowledge that these people have is pretty insane. Like stuff that literally took me years to learn. These guys are eating up and consuming this information, and like their knowledge is growing at a rate faster, and a lot of times it's like surpassing all the knowledge I have, which is just insane.
Yeah.
So I give all those guys like tons of props, like all the kudos in the world. Like I don't even know how their brains are able to work, but my brain's just not able to like compartmentalize and like learn that sort of information at that sort of like hyper speed rate. And I always make the joke too, like for everything I know about Pokemon, I have forgotten twice as much. Like I'm constantly like looking up stuff and reading the same articles that I read years ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember it. Like sometimes I got to read stuff, but like some people here are consuming, and people are becoming like encyclopedias in a way. And I'm talking to some people and listening to them like, wait a second, when did you start collecting Pokemon? And they're like, oh, 2020. And I'm like, how? how did you do that? And so yeah, it's crazy.
When do you think everybody might know the page on Instagram? Dubsy started collecting Pokemon. If you had to guess, the page. You might not know him because you're not really on Instagram.
I know who he is, but I wouldn't be able to give you like any kind of when. So Pokemon Classic said he's come to really depend on the social aspect of Pokemon for balance. Sales are nice, collecting is great, but the experiences and interactions are the best. And I agree. How have you felt like with the interaction? Because you are more social on this hobby than a lot of people with your YouTube channel and your Instagram and your eBay and going to shows and doing all this stuff. Would you think this hobby would have the same appeal to you if I were to just take all that away from you?
I don't know I don't know. My first, like, I'd say, yeah, it would, but I feel like I could have burned out without all of that because like my YouTube, I started it and literally probably for the first year of making videos, it was just me recording mail days and collection purchases and just recording this for me to look back on in the future, not really making any sort of content besides that and some news stuff. But yeah, I feel like I was on a path to get burned out that way, and not the social aspect, not ever talking to like the old schools and talking to other collectors. I wasn't doing any of that when I started. And that just kind of developed with time. And without that, I definitely probably would have burned out in talking to you guys and kind of refining Yu-Gi-Oh, because that was really my main TCG my whole life. So getting back into that, collecting that has been awesome. So
Have you had to relearn any of that? Because
no,
you mentioned that you hadn't really touched Yu-Gi-Oh in years, right?
Yeah, I've gone to a tournament. Probably my last tournament I went to was in 2017, where my friend just like loaned a deck, and I went down to Georgia and got my cheeks clapped. So, but yeah, it's all the vintage stuff I know. Yeah,
your cheeks clapped.
Yeah. So
where does that come from? That's just something like growing up, or
I don't know. It's just playing video games, and that happens to me all the time. So just too much Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 or something.
Okay.
And teabagging in Halo 3. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's Yu-Gi-Oh's like second nature to me. I know all the vintage stuff pretty well, up until probably like 2008. And then so which is good, which is like 6 years of Yu-Gi-Oh, which is a lot, because I don't know 6 years of Pokemon. So that as much as I know Yu-Gi-Oh. So it's good.
So I know you have your podcast channel now. So what made you to go taking the leap? Because one of the things that you did, I feel I would have been a little nervous to do, is you took that leap where you've now created the podcast as a separate channel from your main channel. A lot of people kind of failed doing that. What was like the big reason you did that?
The main so failures whatever to me. So the main reason I started it was to start knowing other collectors, and which is why it's more of an interview style, not as much of a podcast. It's more me talking about them. Some of the big collectors, some low collectors, whatever, it doesn't matter. So the only thing it could be an issue for is like getting bigger name people. Hey, I'm going to have you on my podcast channel. And they see, oh, now it's only 100 subscribers instead of almost 1,000, which tomato to me, it's almost the same. But I don't know. I wanted to do it separately, mainly because it's just mixed in with everything else. And it wasn't any consistency to it. And I didn't like it getting mixed in, even though I don't know. That's what I feel was happening. And I want to kind of separate the brand a little bit. The podcast, I want it to be its own soul thing. And I want it to be on Spotify, which is happening. But yeah.
So Dark Lava Lizard said, with everyone on YouTube doing long form podcasts and interviews, what do you two plan on doing to stay unique from the rest? So that is something relatively new. When I'm not even that new of a channel, but even when I started doing long form podcasts, there wasn't as many people doing it as there are now. Like there was definitely, like, Jake was out there, he was doing it.
Radar.
And I think
Pokemon Radar.
Well, Squeaks and Radar had theirs, but then they ended their collectible conversation. They restarted that. And then maybe Nick and Dan had their podcast. Maybe they might predate me. I'm not sure though. So yeah, that's kind of new. Like, to stay relevant and unique, I don't know, you gotta just make it interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Bring on good guests.
Yep. Yeah, for me, I'm interviewing different people. Like I said, big collectors, small collectors, people in the industry, PWCC, CGC employee, hopefully PSA soon. Just trying to interview as many people as I can, using my network just to communicate with some of these people. And I like learning about those different companies too. It's awesome.
The way I'm keeping it unique is I'm just in a single podcast. I'm going to bring on, I'm going to co-host a podcast with me, Rattle, Cool Trainer Ryan, and then have TCA hop on, and then have Gem Mint Pokemon hop on, and then have Gary King Pokemon hop on, and then Pokenomics hop on, and Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles, and PokeRev hop on, and then we'll have SM Pratt hop on, and we'll have Pokemon Classics on, and we'll have Brown Eyes Blue Dragons or whatever his name
Yellow
is. hop
Dragon.
on. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna keep relevant. I'm just gonna have all those people on every day, all hop in on the exact same, and then when SM Pratt just hops on and everybody like open mouth thumbnails at the same time, like that's how I'll keep it.
Yeah.
This is the thing though. If anybody like didn't enjoy that, I'm just gonna let everybody out there know. If you did not enjoy that podcast, this is probably not the right channel for you. I'm sorry. Like I don't know what else you want. What more do you want? Like that's the best I could give. But there were still a lot of people like I had a lot of texts in my phone after the fact. A lot of people couldn't come on. Like Danny Phantom, he responded back and he was like, he was on a family camping trip. He had no service and stuff. But even he was like, I would have been on if I could have,
Yeah, I think even taking like that where you had, I don't know, was it 9 people the max or 10?
12.
12.
There's 12
yeah.
people on at one time. And then
Like
and then at that point, Rusty had already signed off too, which
Yep.
people forget by that point.
So even if you took that and broke it into like quadrants, like if you had these 4 people or these 4 people, like it would be better, I think, just because they would be able to talk more. Because having 12 people, like you're not getting a lot of airtime, unfortunately. But yeah, even that, if you could get even some of those people in the room together separately in a little smaller group would be pretty insane. I think you got it in you.
It was yeah. And Pokemon Radar. I didn't even say Pokemon Radar. He was on too, which is crazy. And I love John too. John's a great guy to talk to. Yeah, he brings a unique perspective to the hobby.
Yeah, 100%, man. There's a lot of awesome people in the chat. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is there's always like this danger too, where you want to grow your channel, you want to be bigger, but at the same time, you almost don't want to, if that makes sense. Like you eventually you can never keep up with chat. Like you hop into a PokeRev booster box, like Tuesday night vintage booster box opening. That chat has 5,000 people in it. That chat's flying 1 million messages per second, and everybody's asking the same. I don't want it ever where my listener base gets super dumbed down too. And that might sound like super bad, maybe even like sounds like elitist in a way. It's like I don't want a dumbed down viewer base, but like I go into a PokeRev stream and I love Nick, and Nick's a great guy, and what he's doing on his channel is fucking phenomenal. And like that dude deserves all the credit in the world because it's amazing. He just hit 1 million subscribers. He's probably gonna hit 2 million faster than anyone has ever went from 1 to 2 million in this hobby. His jump's probably gonna be the fastest anyone's ever seen. But like I go into his chat and he'll be opening up like a super whatever, like he'll be opening up a jungle box, right? And somebody will say like, what's the chase of this set? Like, what's the most expensive card? Like, how expensive are these packs? Or I'll watch him open like more obscure stuff. Like maybe he'll open up like a Holland Phantoms and I'll see somebody ask that same question. They'll say, what's the most expensive card in this set? And then their next question will be, how do I buy a pack in this break? And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't even tell me what the most expensive card is in Holland Phantoms, but you're willing to buy a pack in this break and you don't know that answer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to like have that ever happen, right? Like, but maybe that person in the future will like gain the knowledge and like gain the understanding and grow in this hobby where that will be a silly question, right? Like, what's the chase cards and Holland Phantoms and stuff like that. But I don't know if I want that too, right? We talk about this chat could go all over the place. Like sometimes we talk about like more nichier stuff too. And when you start talking about nichier stuff and people, you could lose a lot of people pretty fast. Like the people in this chat right now are super engaged in the Pokemon hobby. Trust me, when you make it 2
1%.
hours into a long-winded, long-form content, you are now in the 0.01% of this entire hobby. Like, but that's the thing too. The people in this hobby, whether they're new or not new to this point, it doesn't matter. Like, these are the people that, in my opinion, are going to be the most successful in this hobby because they understand like the nuances of this hobby. And to understand the nuances is where you're going to grow as a collector, an investor, a flipper, whatever you want to be. Like, that's how you grow. That's it, man. Like,
yeah, I've almost, like you said, is like I got like 930 subscribers, and I don't think I've not replied to a comment in the 2 years ish that I've been doing this, which is, it's awesome to be able to communicate and talk to all these people because I'm not like overwhelmed with people, which in a sense it would be sad. Like all these people, you can't give them all the attention they want, and you can't answer every question, which I understand, but I, like you said, I want to hit that threshold, and obviously I'm not going to be a freaking PokeRev or any by any means. Like there's going to be a threshold at some point where you're like, all right, this is the ceiling that we're not going to be gaining anymore unless another freaking Pokemon Go game drops or so, like something like that happens. I don't see it booming out of nowhere again, but it could. And yeah, big shout out to Rev because he was one of the first people I had watched because of the size of his channel. And
I still watch his channel, man. It's still it's entertainment though. But this is the thing. You got Rev. He has 1 point whatever million. Thank God. I mean, I can't thank him enough. Like he's been on this channel now like 4 times. 4 times is a freaking lot. This is a dude with 1 million subscribers. He's been on my channel 3 or 4 times. And
respect.
The most viewed video that he's ever been on is 10,000 views. So it puts it into perspective too, right? Like even a guy like him, when he comes on this channel, maybe it's me though. I mean, I have to look in the mirror and say, maybe people just don't want to watch the videos because of me. And if it was just him on this channel, maybe it would get 128,000 views or whatever his views are getting in the first 24 hours and stuff. But there's production quality. There's all the nuances that I'm not really ready to do right now. Like, maybe I'll add a second camera someday.
Oh, yeah.
But it's, people got to ask yourself the question too. It's like, what do you want out of this hobby? Are you making YouTube videos because you want to be the next PokeRev? Like, I'm not doing that. I'm doing this because I'm truly enjoying it to a insane level.
Yeah, I miss his PWCC live streams, which is why I started doing them, because it was like content that was my favorite content when he was doing that stuff. So I missed it and wanted to do it myself. So,
like, look at my background. But we've almost got to a point too where it's funny. It's like you almost cement yourself with the same background over and over again. Where now, if I added a bunch of shiny neon lights and Pokemon product and shells and plushes and all the other stuff that a lot of PokeTubers do, people might not even like my background at that point. They'd be like, hey, PK, can you go back to that super plain wall with the photo of the Rockefeller Center? People almost get very used to certain things in a weird way too.
Yep. He's a pimp. Nailed it. The wife has entered the chat. No. That's good.
John, yeah. John said, what's your 9-to-5 job? I've talked about it in the past. Pokemon Classic says, Rev's a good guy. Long before YouTube, he was just another OG collector seller. We've done deals way back. Always respected this hustle, even if his content isn't always his taste. And that's the thing too. Like, when I talk to, Nick, like, again, this is where a thing too is I would have called him PokeRev forever. But now that I kind of know him in a weird way, at least in the sense that I've talked to him now for hours, and trust me, I got a lot of people that I consider best friends that I haven't talked to hours wise as much as I've talked to him in the last couple months. But when I talk to him, I'm talking to him as a Pokemon collector the same way I would talk to anybody else in this chat. And to realize that sometimes people are able to like pull themselves back from like their YouTube persona to what they are actually in real life. It's very apparent with some people, and he's one of those people. It's very apparent when you watch the lives when he's sitting down chatting. It's like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like, this is a cool dude, but then it also makes you respect what he's doing on the YouTube, like, even like the open mouth thumbnails and like the super hype and the, getting excited, pulling V cards and stuff like that. It makes you actually respect those videos more because you realize you're like, oh my God, like this dude is actually hustling and really trying. And it's very apparent because you now start to know a little bit about him as a real person. It makes you actually appreciate that other stuff a little bit more, which is in a way pretty weird to think about.
When are you going to shoot your shot for the open mouth thumbnail of the week?
I always get nervous, man. Those open mouth thumbnails are always one eggplant emoji away.
Dude, I know.
Just one well-placed eggplant emoji on any single open mouth thumbnail could be pretty dangerous. I don't know if I'm ready to put myself out there. That's why I always put in my hands like this.
Yeah. Did you watch Rattle's latest booze news?
Dude, I think Rev won again.
Did he win again? I realized like he spent little to no time every time Rev was mentioned in that. Yeah. Just to try to skip over him, but he's like tired of the same guy winning.
So I don't know if you're in Rattle's Discord, but the big joke is if Rev keeps winning, like Rattle has to put him in like a open mouth thumbnail Hall of Fame, and he's gonna have to like ship him a trophy and stuff.
That'd be hilarious after like 10 W's. Yeah, it
would actually be funny. I bet Rev would actually like have the trophy on one of his videos.
Look,
Rattle Pokemon sent me this. I got an actual trophy.
Yep. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I respect the hustle of those people that are doing whatever they got to do for views, and it's their way of making money. And don't bother me none. Do whatever you got to do. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then John Doe said, good to see Rev's best friend Ryan blowing up his channel as well. Ryan's channel's blowing up, man. He figured out something that no one really had done before. He did the pack opening channel, but he did it being him, like no filter, throwing cards in the trash, saying what everyone was kind of already thinking, but did it on a pretty high end. And he has the collection to back it up and the money to do all that and stuff. And
yeah. Yep. Hell yeah, man. You guys have your next podcast in a week?
Nope.
Once a month, right?
We're tentatively scheduled for the 29th.
Yeah.
Oh, I lied. The 26th. That's Friday. 29th is a Monday. So yeah, 26th. So it'll be fun. But yeah, man. You want to start wrapping it up now?
Wrap away, man.
Yeah. So what's like in the very near future for the Green Shiz's channel?
Cracking a PSA 6.5 first edition base set Charizard.
When do you think they'll ship that to you?
They usually ship in a week. Heritage does. So
I'll be looking forward to that.
So I'll get it probably middle end of next week. So, and I'll probably crack it that night or the night after I get it. So that'll be happening. And I don't know, man. Stuff changes every day. I haven't done like a newsy type update in a while, so I might be doing some of that. Just PSA, CGC stuff. I've been more on the collection side and stuff like that. So, but I'm also got a lot to do for Collecticon. So yeah, it's keeping me busy.
Well, I'm looking forward to Denver. We'll definitely meet up. I definitely
man.
owe you a beer, so 100% I'll be buying you. What do you drink? Blue Moon? I'll get you a
Yeah,
Blue
Blue
Moon.
Moon. I'm on. It don't matter. It's
Yeah.
pretty much whatever, as long as it's not what's the light little skinny can thing. I don't even know what the claws, white claws. Like I don't do any of those.
Okay, so
Any
no
type
no
of beer
smoke,
is
no
good.
seltzers for you.
Yeah, any type of beer.
Yeah, but I definitely owe you a beer, man. I'm definitely looking forward to meeting you face to face in Denver. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Likewise, man.
yeah,
Appreciate you having
so
me on.
my last plea for everybody out there. If you're watching this video real time, or if you've somehow made it to the end of this video after the fact, and you are for whatever reason not subscribed to Joshua the Green Chiz, listen. Links to both of his channels are down in the description below. There'll also be a link to his Instagram. Please, please, please give this man a subscribe. He puts out amazing content, super interesting. He's super engaged with this hobby. It's definitely one of my top channels on YouTube that I'm constantly watching. So, but with that said, man, thank you as always. Continue doing exactly what you're doing. Don't change a thing. It's
Yeah.
working for you.
Oh yeah, man. Appreciate it. Definitely.
Yep. But for everybody out there in YouTube watching, I know I can say this for myself, and I know I can say this with Josh with all certainty. We respect and we appreciate every single one of you guys out there. You guys are what makes this hobby fun for both of us. And with that said, guys, we'll catch you on the next video.